before he did Star Wars, I had just finished Rocky, and
When people think of Sylvester Stallone, they picture Rocky standing tall in the ring or Rambo charging through the jungle. But off camera, Stallone fought very different battles against fellow Hollywood giants. Some of these clashes exploded in public, others simmered quietly behind the scenes after the lights went down. His hatred ran so deep it shattered friendships, derailed careers, and nearly killed blockbuster films. Who are they? Stay tuned, because the stories you're about to hear will change the way you see Stallone forever. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the rival Stallone hated most. Of all the enemies Stallone ever faced, none were as famous or as relentless as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Their feud began at the 1977 Golden Globe Awards, a night Stallone thought would crown his underdog Miracle Rocky. Instead, he sat in disbelief as his film lost category after category. And there was Arnold, the hulking newcomer from Austria, laughing each time Rocky was snubbed before walking away with the award for New Star of the Year. Stallone snapped. He later admitted, "I threw a bowl of flowers at his head." That moment ignited a rivalry that would define the next 15 years of their careers. The 1980s became a cold war of egos. Stallone ruled with Rocky II, III, IV, and First Blood, while Arnold struck back with Conan, The Terminator, and Predator. Each film seemed designed to one-up the other. The mocking wasn't subtle. In Twins, Arnold smirked at a Rambo poster. In Tango and Cash, Stallone literally beat down an Arnold lookalike twice. Off-screen, the sabotage grew nastier. Arnold pretended to chase the terrible script for Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot, knowing Stallone's pride would make him grab it first. Stallone did, and critics destroyed the film, calling it a desperate attempt to copy Arnold's comedy success. For years, neither man gave an inch. Fans loved it. The press fed on it, and the tension pushed them to extremes. Only in the 2000s did the hostility cool when both appeared together in The Expendables, and even opened a restaurant side by side. Stallone later confessed, "We were fierce rivals, but that rivalry pushed us both to do our best." Their war began with humiliation, but ended in respect. A rare case where Stallone's hatred eventually became friendship. Kirk Douglas, the ego clash on First Blood. Sylvester Stallone once went head-to-head with a Hollywood legend and won. The man who lost was none other than Kirk Douglas, the iconic star of Spartacus. On the set of First Blood in 1982, what began as a casting triumph quickly descended into a brutal power struggle. At first, everything looked perfect. Douglas, already immortalized by Spartacus and Paths of Glory, had agreed to play Colonel Troutman, the one man who truly understood John Rambo. Old Hollywood prestige was now colliding with Stallone's raw intensity. But Douglas wasn't content to just play the part. Having studied David Morrell's novel, he demanded the film end with Troutman killing Rambo. Again and again, he challenged the script. Kirk Douglas wouldn't say this. Kirk Douglas needs a stronger ending. For Stallone, who was shaping Rambo into a symbol of wounded veterans, this was sabotage. He had fought hard to protect the story's message. Survival, not senseless death. Director Ted Kotcheff finally snapped and told Douglas bluntly, "This is the film we're making. If you don't like it, you can leave." And Douglas did, walking off just days into production. Richard Crenna was brought in at the last minute, memorizing lines on the way to set. Ironically, his calm, fatherly performance gave the film its heart and balanced Stallone's rage perfectly. The ending stayed hopeful. Rambo lived, and a billion-dollar franchise was born. The fallout. Stallone never forgave Douglas's arrogance. He once remarked that some actors care more about their exit than the story itself, a clear reference to Douglas. They never worked together again. While Stallone built a franchise, Douglas became the man remembered for almost killing it. Eddie Murphy, the friendship destroyed by rumors. It's hard to believe, but the man Stallone once called a true friend became someone he could never forgive, Eddie Murphy. In the late 1980s, Stallone and Eddie Murphy were inseparable. Two megastars at the top of their game, sharing laughs, parties, and respect. But in 1987, a single rumor ripped that friendship apart forever. The spark came during the making of Beverly Hills Cop 2. Stallone's wife at the time, Bridget Nielsen, was cast in the film and starred opposite Murphy. She was striking, magnetic, impossible to miss. Soon, rumors spread that Murphy and Nielsen were more than just co-stars. Crew members whispered. Tabloids amplified it. Suddenly, Stallone's name was linked to scandal in every headline. Even if nothing had happened, the humiliation cut deep. Stallone later admitted he picked up the phone and demanded answers directly from Murphy. "What's going on between you and Sasha?" Murphy denied everything, but the damage was done. Trust had cracked, and Stallone's pride left no room for repair. Parties turned into awkward silences. Mutual friends had to pick sides, and by the 1990s, their bond was dead. Murphy would later call it sad that gossip destroyed years of friendship, but Stallone never looked back. The fallout wasn't just personal, it was public. Hollywood began comparing them, pitting box office numbers against each other, fueling the rivalry even further. The man who had once been Stallone's closest ally became just another face on his list of enemies. Richard Gere, the mustard incident that never died. One sandwich, one drop of mustard. That's all it took for Sylvester Stallone to turn Richard Gere from a rising co-star into a lifelong enemy. The year was 1974, and both were unknown actors fighting for a break in the low-budget film The Lords of Flatbush. What should have been a stepping stone to stardom instead became one of the pettiest and most violent feuds in Hollywood history. Stallone, who had co-written the script, poured his heart into playing Stanley Rosiello, a tough guy with a soft core. Gere, trained in theater, came in with a different style, precise, methodical, and obsessed with detail. Their personalities clashed immediately. The final straw came during a cramped car scene when Gere's sandwich dripped mustard onto Stallone's pants. Without hesitation, Stallone elbowed Gere in the head and threw him out of the car in front of the cast and crew. The set went dead silent. Producers had no choice. Gere was fired, and the excuse was creative differences. But everyone knew the truth. Stallone had claimed dominance, and Gere's humiliation spread quickly through Hollywood. Gere never forgot it. Stallone later mocked him in interviews, calling the tension a personality clash that couldn't be solved. To Gere, it was proof that Stallone would rather fight than compromise. Decades later, the two still avoid each other. Rumors swirled that the bad blood even fueled Gere's bitterness during his later rise in American Gigolo and An Officer and a Gentleman. What could have been an early alliance between two icons turned into a feud over a mustard stain that Stallone never allowed to fade. Bruce Willis, the brotherhood broken by greed. When Stallone created The Expendables, it wasn't just another action film. It was his love letter to the 1980s, a brotherhood of legends giving fans one last ride. At the heart of that brotherhood was Bruce Willis. But what began as camaraderie turned into Stallone's most bitter public feud, one that shattered trust and made headlines worldwide. In the first two Expendables films, Willis played the shadowy CIA man named Church. It wasn't the biggest role, but his presence gave the team credibility. Stallone saw him as an equal, another soldier from the golden era of tough guys. By 2013, when Expendables 3 was gearing up, Willis's demands stunned everyone. He wanted $4 million for just 4 days of work. No negotiations, no compromise. That meant $1 million a day. Stallone, who had built the franchise on loyalty over ego, saw it as a betrayal. Instead of caving, he cut Willis out and brought in Harrison Ford. Then he did something rare for Hollywood. He went public. On Twitter, Stallone blasted Willis as greedy and lazy. The words were brutal, and they stuck. Overnight, Willis went from beloved everyman to being whispered about as difficult and money-obsessed. The Expendables survived, grossing over $200 million, but the brotherhood was broken. Fans noticed Willis's absence, and the magic of the old gang was never quite the same. Stallone had drawn a line in the sand, proving that in his world, loyalty mattered more than fame. As for reconciliation, the two men have avoided each other ever since. Their friendship replaced by a silence louder than any explosion on screen. 6 actors, 6 battles, and a side of Stallone the public rarely sees. Some feuds ended in respect, others in silence, but all of them proved he never forgot a slight. Which story shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood rivalries.